Hey everybody, Chef Kimber. I'm excited to make you my chicken stir fry today. You could always take out the chicken or maybe do beef flank steaks and make this beef or vegetarian. We'll go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with the sauce. So we wanna have that cooking while we're cutting and then cooking our veggies and chicken. I have a big pot today. I'm actually gonna make enough prep for my family. Just get a large pot, doing a very large batch. These are my coconut aminos. Honestly, I get this off Amazon. You could get them anywhere. They're in very generic stores now. They're just my soy-free soy sauce alternative. So instead of using soy sauce, I love to use coconut aminos, especially since I don't do soy, but a lot of people in their dietary restrictions that I know don't do soy. We're gonna go ahead and do coconut sugar. So I have organic coconut sugar. We have some sesame oil here. This gives it a lot of flavor. You don't need a lot. I'm making a big batch, so I'm gonna use this whole bottle. We're just gonna throw everything into this pot before we turn it on the heat so that everything can start to mix together well and incorporate, and it's not overflowing or bubbling while you're trying to add in ingredients. Do it the safe way. Add everything in when you're not on the heat, you're off the stovetop, or you just don't have that heat on. Sesame oil is really strong in its flavor. This looks really nice. So you could use less sesame oil, you could use more. My youngest is actually allergic to sesame, so we don't use this when we're feeding her with this meal. I have my seasoning. I love ginger. I actually add more ginger into mine. We got ginger, sea salt, and garlic powder. And I just want to sprinkle that on here. So nice to be able to have Asian flavors without all of the foods I can't eat: gluten, dairy, soy, corn. A lot of that is in there, so it's really fun to make this. We also have some of my happy food bone broth here, chicken bone broth. You could use water, you could use vegetable or beef broth. And then arrowroot starch. I'm actually gonna use a whisk to throw this in so that it doesn't clump. I'll start whisking it first, just breaking everything down here. You can just smell the Asian flavor here. It is so yummy. When I make this for people, they don't even know that I substitute the soy sauce with the coconut aminos. It's really fun to make this. We'll go ahead and dump in that arrowroot starch. I'm just gonna slowly stir it in. I just do about 2 tablespoons at a time of my arrowroot starch while it's cold. It will incorporate and break down. If you did this while it was hot, it turns into this gelatinous cubes, and they're disgusting, and they don't thicken the sauce like we want to with a slurry effect. And you would have to strain it to get that out, and it's really gross. The texture is terrible. Mix that in slowly. If you know how to do a slurry, feel free to do a slurry with the bone broth in your arrowroot starch. You would pour it in, mix it together with your fingers, and then dump it in, and that cornstarch, the arrowroot starch is just nice and dissolved, so it won't get that gelatinous clumping going on. We're gonna put this on our stovetop. I'm gonna do it on a low medium heat only because I have a lot of veggies to cut up here today. I got a lot going on. And that'll start to come to a simmer, and then we'll let it stay there to thicken, and I'll show you guys when this is ready. I have my chicken thighs here for my chicken stir fry. Again, you could do beef, you could just omit this and do it vegetarian or vegan. I have chicken thighs because I like it for hormone balance. It's higher in that fat content. And then I just like to cut it into small cubes. I just like to have chicken in every bite if possible. I love the flavor of chicken. You could always do chicken breast, but it dries out a little bit easier. So just know your cooking skill level and do what works for you. So I'm just gonna dice this into little cubes. I wanted to move everything out of the way just for sanitation reasons. And I always do a different colored cutting board. So white in our house is always poultry, red is beef. And in my kitchens, we do the same just for cross-contamination. If I'm working with people with alpha-gal or Lyme's disease, anything where we can't mix up the meats, or maybe the vegetables, we definitely want to make sure we're looking out for that cross contamination. So I'm just gonna keep on cutting this up. I'm gonna stir my sauce after this, wash my hands before I stir, and then we'll get cutting our veggies. This looks great to me. I've just small diced everything. I'm gonna put it to the side away from everything. You can always keep it in your fridge if it takes you a while to cut your veggies. I'm gonna wash my hands, stir my sauce, and then we'll get cutting our veggies. It's time to start cutting our veggies. I like carrots, broccoli, onions, and bell peppers in my stir fry. I like to get weird and do a huge variety. I've done sweet potatoes, purple cauliflower, so you can get really fun with this. And I'm gonna cut just enough for us to cook some and serve it. I am gonna cut all of this up to meal prep for my family, but we'll get started here. I'm also gonna be putting everything into my bone broth today. If you've never made bone broth or vegetable stock, this is a great place to start. Instead of composting everything, I wanna throw everything in here, and I love having this strainer in it. It makes it so much easier, especially to pull the chicken bones out. If I have chicken in here and I am gonna make a chicken bone broth, I'm gonna leave out the peppers from my broth because of the seeds that carry lectins in them. If you have autoimmune disease, you really wanna avoid lectins. So always, when I make stock in my cafes, I absolutely never put in any nightshades, bell peppers, or anything else that autoimmune people cannot tolerate. We're gonna go ahead and compost these guys. And I'm gonna start cutting everything into bite-sized pieces and just put it in our pan here as we go. And everything else we'll put into our pot for stock. We'll just start chopping everything again into those bite-sized pieces so that we can saute it and start cooking up our stir fry. Here I like to keep the carrots as rounds, or on a bias is a lot more of an Asian style. Go slower if you want, but on a bias, is that like a diagonal angle? It's like these fun diagonal pieces that I think give it an Asian flair. We have our broccoli stem left. You could easily toss this in your stock if you don't want to deal with it. We are gonna make rice, or I'll show you just one stalk. I always cut the end off because it's always harder. You just wanna peel that bottom skin off the stem. It gets really tough and isn't fun to eat. And I actually love using this in my stir fry. One, I'm saving money by making it bigger, adding more broccoli, not wasting, and it's got this like really peppery flavor. I just do really thin slices on a bias. And they're just these fun little shapes as well. Put that in. I got really excited and I put way too much in here. So don't overstuff your pan because I still have to put chicken and sauce in. I'm gonna take some of this out. My sauce is coming to a simmer. It's getting beautiful and thick. I'll show you that. And we're gonna start cooking our veggies and turning it on a medium-high heat. We'll get these sauteing, throw in all of our chicken that we're gonna use, and we'll have our stir-fry bowls. So easy. I also pulled some anti-inflammatory quinoa from my freezer and defrosted it overnight. That I'm just warming up here on the stove with some of that bone broth. You could do that, or I'm gonna show you guys also how we make rice, or how I make rice, because I'm not a grains person. Usually people do cauliflower rice, but I just wanted to show you guys how to do it out of broccoli stems, zucchini, and carrots. I've done it out of sweet potatoes, I've done it out of beets. It turns everything red, but it's really fun. So there's a lot of different kinds of rice you can make if you're paleo or grain free. Make that as well. I'm actually really excited to show you guys how to do a lot of different kinds of cauliflower rice, but out of different vegetables. I love root vegetables a lot because they hold strong. Carrots, sweet potatoes, beets, I've done it all. Do the larger side, and that's gonna probably hold better as rice. You just wanna use your cheese grater. Hold it at an angle, watch your knuckles and your hands. These are really sharp. If you have a food processor with a shredding attachment or a KitchenAid with a shredding attachment, those are great for these as well, and it's way faster. I do have one of those, but I just want to show you guys it's really not that hard, and it does not take that long to just do it yourself. Not even a minute in since I started, and here I am done with 1 carrot. So that's a carrot here. Beautiful. Just get all the colors going. And we don't want to cook these for the stir fry only because I don't want them to get soft and mushy. I want them to have a crunch, almost like a grain would have. We'll go ahead from there. I love using zucchinis. I have no problem using this butt, but if you don't like that, cut it off. I have stock going over here, so I'm throwing everything into my stock pot. This one, I would definitely use the bigger ones. A lot more moisture than a root vegetable. You could also do like a yellow summer squash, and it would work great too. With zucchini, I just recommend squeezing out the liquid with a towel or a paper towel and letting that liquid come out, or it does get mushy a lot quicker than a root vegetable does. Gonna gather up most of my zucchini here, and then I'm gonna squeeze it. You know what, I'll just squeeze it over my stock pot, because why not? All that liquid's gonna have vitamins and minerals, and then you guys can see it as well. And then it all just comes out. So just getting that liquid out, and again, I'm not wasting anything because I'm putting it in that stock. It's a lot drier like that. If you wanna do broccoli, get a good broccoli stem. This is a good one. So I'm just gonna cut the crown off, save that. And again, we're gonna cut the ends off where it's really tough and hard. And then skinning the sides, especially near the bottom, to get that thick, tough skin off, right? Put all of that into our stock. And then easy, doing the exact same thing. And then whatever is left of that broccoli, I get a little scared getting my fingers that close. So I'll either throw it in the pot, or I'll throw it into my stock pot and cook it in the stir fry, or put it in the stock. But this one, that's 1 stock, so that might take a few. If you had that attachment on your RoboCoupe, your food processor, that's a lot quicker and easier with all of this. Just quickly broke down a bell pepper. The ends that are tiny, that little end piece, I'm gonna throw over here. And again, you can just start shaving it. This is gonna have a lot of liquid, so you probably wanna squeeze out the liquid in this guy. And then that little end piece, I just rip in half and throw straight into my stir fry. It's so pretty. And just make sure you tap everything out so you save everything. So beautiful. I mean, this one I probably could just grab and squeeze most of it out with my hands. I'm eating this, so who cares? Oh, much better, so much drier. And this is so beautiful. Look at these colors for your rices. I love having something that's like a grain, but doesn't affect my body like a grain. My flavor profile misses it, my taste buds. I hope you loved this little demonstration of how to make different rices. Our sauce came to a simmer. I'm just gonna take this off and put it to the side. We'll just slide this right back and get cooking our veggies. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. And I always like to sprinkle anything with a little bit of salt, just to give it some flavor. We've got our quinoa done. We've got our different vegetable rices done. We've got our sauce done. Now we just hang out with our veggies and we saute. We'll add our chicken in a little, bring it up to a high temp, cover everything with oil and salt. It is spring here in Missouri. 5 days in. Look at these colors. Tell me this doesn't scream spring. Scream spring. Yeah. It just makes me so happy. It's like sunshine in a pan. Everything's coming back to life. New beginnings, a bunch of energy, motivation, hope. I'm gonna let this saute, I don't know, 4 to 8 minutes, depending on your medium high on your stovetop. We'll add in our chicken. That'll take probably 2 to 4 minutes to finish. Before it finishes, we add our sauce. We don't want the sauce to burn, but we want it to cook everything through and get that sauce incorporated and really bound to our ingredients so it tastes so good. The way that I tell if it's ready to add the chicken is when the onions are starting to get translucent. They're almost see-through and they're pretty flimsy, right? You just do as much chicken as your heart desires. My pan's not big enough for everything. I'm gonna do about half and half in each pan. This has been cooking for about 1 minute. I'm gonna throw the lid on top just to get that chicken to steam and cook a little bit more. After about 1 minute, I'm gonna take that off, put the sauce on, and cook everything up. It has been about a minute with the lid on top. I'm gonna just take it off. You can just tell that everything is starting to release all its moisture, really cook that chicken through. Nobody likes raw chicken, get you sick. And then before that chicken finishes, we wanna throw that sauce on just so it gets incorporated and soaks into the chicken and the veggies. So I'm just gonna use a ladle here. Make a little bit of a mess. I don't know, we'll do a couple ladles worth. There we go. So 4-ounce ladle. I did 2 scoops of that. Mix it in. Oh, it smells so good. Making sure all of it gets that sauce. And we don't want it to be really runny and have all this liquid at the bottom, which is why I don't like to have the cover on for longer than a minute or 2 if you're just trying to cook that chicken through. So we just want to keep cooking this until that sauce reduces. And this is ready to go. My stir fry looks perfect. I'm gonna take it off the heat. If you were gonna use this at home, I would just leave it on this burner if it's an electric burner, and it'll just thicken up that sauce for a few minutes. It'll be perfect. If I'm doing this for meal prep, which I'm gonna show you guys, I like to leave the sauce a little bit runnier because they're gonna heat up these meals again. You wanna have that moisture so things don't dry out. It might even run off into your quinoa or your rice, and it's still gonna taste really yummy, and slowly cook that as well without anything getting too dry. Being aware of that. I'm gonna pour myself a bowl. I'm ready to try this. Again, I don't do grains. I'm going to do some carrots. I'm gonna do a little bit of everything because this rice is so pretty. Okay, so we got all 4 rices in there, and then I'm just gonna mix it up with my hand. And I got myself all that rice in there. I love chicken. I love sauce. Give me all the sauce. Okay. When I make these videos for you guys, and I know I'm making these things, I get so excited all day to eat this. I've been waiting all day to eat this. Look at that stir fry. Just so many flavors. I'm just gonna let this sit here and thicken a little bit more. Need a little bite of everything. Even that rice is on there. That is so yummy. I'm telling you, you guys have got to try this recipe. Tastes just like soy sauce, just like a regular stir fry, except after I eat it, I don't feel bloated, fatigued, my belly's not upset. It is amazing. I hope you guys try this recipe. Tell me what you want to see next. Check out my teriyaki chicken bowl if you love Asian flavors. I'm gonna show you guys how I meal prep this, but like and subscribe. Let me know what you want me to make next, and I can't wait to cook for you guys again. I'm gonna show you guys how to quickly meal prep this bowl a couple different ways. If you're doing the quinoa, the ginger quinoa, people love this one. Just doing a couple scoops here. If that is not what you want to do, you can do some of the rice. I'm gonna do a little bit of everything. I have my 2-ounce containers. I'm just gonna ladle sauce in these and put them to the side. I just like extra sauce in mine that's really thick and creamy. I just threw those right in the side. I like to put them in first because once you start throwing everything in, it gets a little messy. It keeps it nice and tucked against the wall so they close better with the lid. So I always do the sauces as one of the first things. And then we're just gonna evenly distribute all of this yumminess. I like to just top each one with equal parts of the sauce that's left. I just top it with a little bit of sesame just to give it some flair, some fun. It also is nice when you put sesame on top of things with sesame in it. Just people with that allergy, it's getting higher these days, know what you're putting on there or what's already in it. Look at these 2 different bowls. And I'll have pictures after. Oh my goodness, it is just bursting with colors, which means bursting with nutrients. You eat this, you're gonna feel good, you're gonna look good, your skin's gonna be beautiful. Check out my acne course. This is something I highly recommend. If you're going through that course, this is a great recipe. I hope you guys love this. I hope you meal prep some of these. Let me know what you think, and I can't wait to cook for you guys again.